Hey everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're picking up some books in your spare time. Anyways, or you're visiting your library or visiting a local bookstore. The book I'm going to review today is called Fly Away by Kristin Hannah. You might know that author from such books as The Women, The Four Winds, The Nightingale, and Firefly Lane. This book, Fly Away, is a sequel to Firefly Lane. It picks up about 4 years after Firefly Lane ends with the death of Kate Malarkey, who is Kate Ryan, who's the best friend of Tully Hart. So I will read the description on the back, and then I will give you my thoughts about the book. Here we go. Kristin Hannah's runaway bestseller Firefly Lane began the epic story of Tully Hart and Kate Malarkey. And in Fly Away, she brings us the next chapter in that beloved tale. As teenagers in the 70s, Tully Hart and Kate Malarkey were inseparable. Tully, with her makeup and halter tops, was the coolest girl in school. Kate, with her glasses and high-water jeans, was the geeky outsider. But chance and circumstance brought them together, and through the decades they were devoted to each other. This was the story of Tully and Kate, best friends forever. But sometimes stories end, and it seems impossible to begin again. Now, years later, Tully is a woman upended by grief. She wants to fulfill her promise to Kate, to be there for Kate's children, but it's a promise she has no idea how to carry out. What does brash, never married, ambitious Tully know about being part of a family? Kate's daughter, 16-year-old Mara Ryan, is as lost as Tully. Alone and vulnerable, she meets a young man who takes her hand and leads her into his dangerous, shadowy world. Tully's mother, Dorothy Hart, is an unstable woman who abandoned her child too many times in the past and ultimately broke her heart. But now Tully needs her. Dorothy returns once more, desperate for a second chance to be a good mother. But Dorothy must face her darkest fears and reveal the terrible secret in her past. Only then can she become the mother her wounded daughter needs. Tragedy will bring these three grieving women together and set them on a journey of discovery. Each has lost her way, and they will need each other, and maybe a miracle to transform their lives and make them believe in life again. I like this book. I like this book, but I didn't like it as much as I did with Firefly Lane. I just don't know why. I liked it, but not as much as the first one. And I'm kind of glad that she has not written a sequel for this book. And I think partially because there has been there probably was a bit of a pushback. Not as many people liked it as much as Firefly Lane. I think Firefly Lane, if she had just written Firefly Lane instead of expanding on the series to Fly Away, I think it would have been a much better book. In all honesty, I think by expanding the universe a bit, I think was a bit of a mistake, personally. To kind of keep Tully and Kate's family in sort of the way that they were. And you think at the end of Firefly Lane, I think was the best way of doing that book, rather than expanding on it. But I understand, I think, why she wanted to do it, because how do you explain what happened next? And so I think, expand it a bit was, I think, a good idea. In that way, I think it was a good idea. But it kind of, it ended in a way that is kind of ambiguous. And I think that's kind of good. There's no true happily ever after, I guess you would say. And I think just the way she ended it is perfect. To add a third book, I think would be wrong. You can read her other books and it's fine. I think it's fine the way it is. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. Firefly Lane, I gave a 5 out of 5. It was awesome. It was excellent. It was everything I wanted in a book. And, yeah, I think the shifting POVs, 3 POVs that it shifted between, I think, especially between Maura and Dorothy, was really, really hard at times, because I was kind of thinking, okay, well, what does, because I have a tendency to read ahead sometimes, and sometimes I can never understand what's going on. And this one, it was not really clear what had happened, unless you read it, right? But that being said, despite it not being as good as Firefly Lane, I think Firefly Lane and The Nightingale were lightning in a bottle for people, for people who read those books by Kristin Hannah. I think this comes as a bit of a disappointment in a way. It was a bit disappointing. Yeah, it wasn't, this is a book that not necessarily I would revisit in the end. It's probably a one and done, and I had considered buying a copy, but I didn't. Anyways, if you wish to find out what happens to Tully and the gang after the death of Kate in Firefly Lane, and I know I'm giving a bit of a spoiler to Firefly Lane for those who will view this and haven't read Firefly Lane. And yes, Mom, I do have a copy of Firefly Lane, so if you want to read it, you can read it yourself. That was Fly Away, the second book in the Firefly Lane series. And that was by Kristin Hannah, and I look forward to talking to you fairly soon. Bye for now.